OMORI is a game with depictions of depression, anxiety, and suicide. And although the warning screen indicates that it may not be suitable for all audiences to play, I believe it's a game that everyone can relate to. Not too long ago, I had the rare opportunity to see the fruits of OMOCAT's labor in person at the limited time, free to the public OMORI Exhibit hosted by Nucleus in Alhambra, California. Despite the 6.5-hour drive there and back, I wholeheartedly believe the experience was worth it. On one hand, the expenses took a hit on my wallet that only eating cheap ramen for a month can remedy, but on the other hand, I got to appreciate firsthand the effort and beauty that was placed into one of my new favorite games of all time. I was only a state away, so me and 2 other pals were able to spend the rest of the day driving around Los Angeles, California before the trip back inevitably wore us down. It was a fun, quick, and memorable trip that took less than 2 days in total but felt like a week with how much we accomplished. The exhibit was the reason for going, but we also got to drop in Amoeba Records in Hollywood, hit up a local coffee shop, eat hot chicken, and buy way too much sake at one of few Don Quixote Japanese grocery locations in LA. My buddy also thought it would be funny to take my Fumo everywhere we went, so that, along with the 19-hour playlist we listened to, was another highlight of the trip. All in all, I got a little breather from my current life and all the stressors in it. My childhood home right now is in the process of being packed up and moved to God knows where, and I'm stuck in my college town trying to prepare for the upcoming semester. Visiting home is a surreal experience when you come back to a room with no furniture, a hallway with new carpet, and bins scattered with all of your belongings not sorted by you. No, I may not live there, but I certainly did for practically 20 years of my life. I don't want to discount how happy it makes my father to be able to finally move to another state with his significant other, because I believe that his happiness takes precedence over a piece of property that he's been stuck in alone for years. But I still can't help but feel somber. At first, I didn't know how to feel when he told me we were moving, but now that the house is clearing out, reality has somewhat hit me. Reality that I may have to face what's coming in my life whether I like it or not. In OMORI, much like me, Sunny is also moving out. During the portion of the game in Faraway, you take control of Sunny as he lives his last few days in his childhood town. While the portions of the game in Headspace are bright and cheery with goofy characters, Faraway Town holds a more personal experience. The friends that Sunny had are torn apart and have been for years after the death of Mari. Walking around town, you visit places that were once frequent hangout spots and areas that held distant memories. You then inevitably trudge up unpleasantries when it becomes obvious that everyone you once knew is still having trouble moving on. The darker imagery in the game is a gross but accurate exaggeration of the emotions that a human mind will exhibit in the face of abandoned memories. The inability to cope with past actions, coupled with trauma associated with said actions, push Sunny into a sad, lonely, abandoned corner. Whitespace is by all means lonesome, but comforting as there's nothing there to fear. Except maybe the hands. Those things still kind of weird me out. Remembering a terrible time in your life isn't something that humans like to do. We try our damnedest to make sure those memories stay behind or replace them with new ones so that our minds scurry away from confrontation. I know that I personally went through a rough patch of time in my childhood when I lost my mother. There was no blame on anyone involved, as life tends to take its course in unpredictable ways. Yet, I still hold regrets and sad memories of the time when I was 11 years old. It's just that the older you get, the less and less you think about it until there isn't much left to think about. That is until you end up packing up your house and finally leaving where those memories took place. It's not like you can store them away though. Once this house is gone, my memories of it will be present for my entire lifetime, whether I like it or not. Inevitably, even the bad memories will have to be brought up from time to time. Part of life is dealing with horrors of your own and finding a way to live with what you've previously experienced, even if your memories aren't fond. OMORI is a game about dealing with depression, anxiety, fear, and guilt, but most importantly, it's a game about moving forward. I hate the term moving on because it depicts the idea of pushing past and forgetting. Moving forward is more proper. It's about confronting and accepting the terrible hand you've been dealt, not just leaving it in the dust. Taking a moment to face your darkest memories and deepest regrets and making sure that they don't haunt you for life. There's nothing inherently wrong with having tragic or sad memories. We all make mistakes and push people away, and we all have aspects of our life that are out of our hands. Blaming yourself can lead to disgusting thoughts, traumatic stress, and potentially suicidal tendencies. OMORI tackles these topics in a roundabout, trippy, and horrific way, but in a sense humans do the same thing. Our personal horrors may not look like the something from the game, but in our heads we bury thoughts to the point where it terrorizes us without even realizing it. Being strong isn't overcoming your past, it's accepting and dealing with it as a reality. As difficult of a process as it is, it's really the only way to push forward. Sunny's headspace may be absurdly exaggerated as to the lengths a human mind will go to hide memories, but to an extent it's quite realistic. You may have to run around your own version of headspace to find and come to terms with what bothers you the most. The conclusion to Omori feels like the end of a long journey, not just one on foot in both faraway and headspace, but one in the mind of a character who is finally finding peace with his inner demons. There is peace in the horror that Omori holds, knowing that somewhere out there someone else is going through a similar rough reality. You and I alike may have crafted our very own version of headspace to deal with trauma. It may not be an expansive dream with goofy characters, but the mind will hide what it wants in any way possible. The vision of Omori really became clear to me after staring at all the concept art for the game. The game focuses on emotion, and not just as a battle mechanic. These characters all have incredibly diverse expressions for the way they feel in different parts of the game. Happy, sad, manic, angry, hurt, embarrassed, and undeniably scared. Emotion is shown not just in character portraits, but also in the Polaroids scattered in the in-game photo albums. Photos that depict characters smiling for a photo, to Aubrey and Kel arguing, the two brothers embarrassing each other, and yes, even the frightening past Sunny pushes away. Polaroid photos were a brilliant decision, not only for portraying emotion, but also from a storytelling perspective. Reading happy descriptions of friendly gatherings paints happy memories in your head, only to have the game tear those memories away from you when you see the darker photos towards the end of the game. Emotions are a powerful catalyst in Omori, and that really became obvious to me at the art exhibit. The in-game art is incredible, don't get me wrong, but seeing the sketches for each lovely memory these characters shared was eye-opening. I could almost feel the emotion emanating from each depiction, concept, and design. The passion behind the work really popped out. Some of the art wasn't even used in the game. There was a lot on display clearly drawn just for fun. OMOCAT's slightly childlike, well-rounded, anime-inspired art style has always felt sweet. A warm feeling surrounded by people who are there for you that you share delightful memories with. Which is why it makes her horror style feel all the worse. The once happy imagery is morbidly warped into shadowy creatures and depictions of panic. Upstairs at the venue contained the spoiler room, which held the darkest art there. At the time, I hadn't finished the game. Before leaving for the event, I had played up until about an hour before the credits. You can go ahead and tear me to shreds in the comments, but I'll explain a little bit because I wasn't spoiled much more than I already had been. I had dragged my feet far too long after only playing about halfway through Omori back in December. Unfortunately, I had also been spoiled on specific sister details at some point last year as well. However, I didn't want to miss part of the exhibit, and that alone gave me the courage to walk up those stairs. So yeah, seeing the art firsthand was quite a shock, and definitely left an impact on me that I won't forget. From the wall that held the Polaroids of the truth behind Mari's passing to the concept art for Black Space, there was a whole lot to take in. The projector in the room played the duet video on repeat while the images sank in. It was almost as if Mari was there with everyone, looking down, telling us that everything is going to be okay. Actually, she was. Would you look at that? Original art for pretty much every scene you could imagine was at this exhibit, including each and every frame from the duet video. While the upstairs contained the horror, the downstairs held all the happiness. Character designs, original concepts, extra sketches, real printed Polaroids, the sketches of said Polaroids, the Omori plushie, and even the interesting white space chair and desk. Then there were photo opportunities with character cutouts from both Faraway and Headspace, with the sketches right behind them, which is really impressive. I'm telling you, Nucleus and OMOCAT went above and beyond to make this happen. We spent about an hour there in total and took many more photographs than I was expecting. My only regret is the one that everyone had, which is, gee, I wish I'd spent more time there. After the exciting and fulfilling rest of the day, and the extremely drawn-out car ride, I did take the time to finish Omori. And after the in-person experience that I just had, the ending hit really close to home. The way that the game pieces together the art I had already seen in the exhibit is nothing I could have imagined. Even after being spoiled and taking the long path to finish the game, the conclusion to Omori was undoubtedly saddening to me. And although I put off finishing the game, I think it was meant to be, as this is now a more vulnerable time in my life. It wasn't just the sad reality of moving out, but also the realization that those happy road trip memories are now just that. Memories. And although that's the case, it's important to keep those memories close. Oftentimes, pushing away the sad memories will push away happy memories with it, and Omori is proof that we should cherish what we have. It's heavily evident that Sunny has pushed memories aside, and looking at the photos of those memories couldn't even bring them back. The game constantly shoves those photos back in his face to make sure he doesn't forget. Especially at the end, you have to relive those memories before facing the harsh feelings you can't bear to face. Through those happy memories, Sunny gains the courage to face his trauma and accept his horrifying past. In life, we can't have the good without the bad, and while that's upsetting, the opposite is also true. We can't have the bad without the good. Underneath a blanket of dark times is a treasure trove of happy memories. If we forever push away our unpleasant moments, we'll ultimately lose some pleasant ones along with them. We'll forget the happy times we spent with family members no longer with us, the happy ones before a mother is lost to illness, or a sister is befallen by an accident. This is why I believe sad media to be so important. It's also why I have such an attachment to Mother 3 as well. As children, we cry a lot and get upset over trivial things, but as we grow old, we're told to stop crying. Sometimes emotions get bottled up and we can't let them out in a reasonable manner, so they just get stuffed away and cause trouble. Watching a sad show or playing a sad game, then crying to let out the emotions can help relieve what we may not have been able to on our own. Clannad made me cry like a baby, and so did Your Lie in April. There's sad for the sake of being sad, and then there's other media like Omori, a story with proper world building and a healthy amount of time to build attachments and relationships to characters. Even if the ending is sad, Omori isn't an inherently sad story. Sure, it's tragic, but it's equally as heartwarming. It's just that the sadness of the game is expressed so well, we tend to forget how much more there still is. And if you're head over heels in trauma like Sunny is, that's probably what life is like to you. No matter who you are, I bet there's at least something you can take away from an adventure through Headspace and Faraway. There is much to unpack with Omori, and I'll be taking my fingers back to the keyboard to play the game for many more hours to come. While this video isn't a comprehensive analysis or anything, I definitely have shared many feelings I have towards this game. Sorry if it got too personal, but writing has kind of become my way of letting emotion out as well. My release energy attack, if you will. Since I don't really have a proper conclusion to this video, I'm going to leave you with the raw footage I took at the OMORI exhibit. Please go support OMOCAT by buying OMORI if you happen to want to pick it up, and if you live in the Alhambra area, go check out the cool exhibits that cycle through Nucleus because that place is really dope. Thanks for watching. Please enjoy my awful live commentary. Over here, we got these two parts of the exhibit with the cutouts. I think that's pretty dope. And then this is mostly art from the beginning. All this stuff down here was art from the first part of the game. Took a bunch of pictures of this. And then over here, it's showing trailers, and there's some sprite sheets up here. Trailers and beta footage of the game, some early footage, and then the OMORI plushie back there. But I thought this place was really cool because it has kind of art strewn about and then white space. You got the hands. Here's the, I guess this was painting for the promotional, for this gallery, I believe. Or maybe it existed before, I don't know. Up the stairs, there's the spoilers. There's a violin. I know, haha, stairs.
When do they sell it?
Tree. Big spoiler stuff. They have these Polaroids. I don't think they sell those ones. This is a lot emptier than when I was up here before. The camera. And then they're playing the video up here. And then I missed these over here, but they have a bunch of art in the corner. The hands up there. More of the horror stuff up here. Black space. Heavily inspired by Nyaanachi, undoubtedly. And then right before you go down the stairs, you can look up. And there's the family. As happy as could be. Calendar prints. The Maverick. More sprite sheets, more tile sheets. Character faces. And then all the Polaroids. From far away. And then over here we have the Polaroids from Headspace. And lastly, the table in the middle with a bunch of art. Not sure exactly if it has a specific theming, but there's more underneath. It's very hard to look at from above, obviously. Well, that's about it for the exhibit. Absolutely wonderful.